is up, everybody? The Wild Snap, a football show, is back. We unfortunately missed last week, but we are back for what I believe is episode 5. Very excited, obviously. Huge night tonight for America, as everyone knows, because Central Michigan plays Bowling Green. Right? That's the big storyline in America tonight. No, but I'm just kidding, guys. But we're back for the Wild Snap. We're going to talk college football first half. We're going to talk NFL second half. We got a lot to talk about. So we'll start with Toby. How we doing? And we'll work clockwise.
Good, man. I mean, it sucked that we didn't have a show last week. It sucked that I couldn't make it back in time, but we're here now, so I'm excited for what we got today on big election night.
There we go. How we doing, Adam?
I'm still recovering from Saturday's embarrassing Badgers performance against Iowa. I'm very sad still, but hey, my Cardinals are in first place in the division, so let's go.
Okay, there we go. Burke making his debut. Everyone, Braden Burke, how we doing?
How we doing, everyone? Excited to be here. Excited to talk college football, talk NFL, and excited to be here.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, Braden Burke is a New England sports fan, so everyone, I'm sorry we had to do it for this episode. Elderson was out, but Burke will be a regular as of right now on the show. But we'll see if the New England bias going to be too bad. We'll see.
No, not at all. Not at all.
The opposite of New England, New York. Nick Nicosia, how are we doing, man?
I couldn't be happier that college basketball is back. Last night was awesome. But overall, doing good. Happy to be back on the show.
Absolutely. We're going to start college football. And as I said, it is a lot to talk about. Toby, why don't we start? Let's pull up the Sporkle because, guys, we are back. It's Sporkle season, as I like to say. We will be doing a little college football Sporkle, figuring out the school that the Heisman winners have went to. It might get really difficult
Fat list
towards the end, but at the beginning, we should get the big hitters out of the way. Are you boys ready?
I'm gonna get exposed.
We'll see. The goal is 100%. We did it 2 weeks ago. We got 133 out of 134 on our last Sporkle, the first Sporkle we ever did when we found out FBS schools on a map. But I think we can get 100% here, boys. Let's get it started, Toby.
Let's do it. Are we going in order?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go top to bottom. LSU. Let's do it.
Did it not enter one in for me? Okay, I don't know what's going on. All right, there we go. USC.
Let's get a little Oklahoma.
Alabama.
If it's bad to just do all the schools, it's going to be a lot easier than I thought.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Louisville.
This might be over really quick.
Oregon. Yeah, dude, this is going to be
Let's get a little
FSU.
in there.
Auburn.
A&M.
Let's get A&M in there. Let's get Baylor, too. Brady Stewart, his former school.
UF.
Florida.
Yep, Florida.
Troy
Smith.
Would that be Troy Smith is the first 2006. That's not a West. That might be like a Washington or something.
Let's get UCLA, Anthony. I'll take Gary Beeman.
Why don't we
That's
go?
That's a sneaky pull right there.
There you go.
Sneaky pull.
Why don't we?
I feel like that is a West Coast team.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking like
Go Washington.
I like Washington.
No, they don't have a Heisman.
Arizona.
No,
Arizona.
let's get Nebraska in there. That's for sure. There we go. I knew Eric Couch. I knew that one.
Dane, Wisconsin. This is the next one.
All right, we got a little Wisconsin.
Alan, what you know about it, Hoff?
Eddie George.
Alan
Kenosha. He's from Kenosha.
Fullback.
Let's do Georgia. Let's do Georgia.
Fullback.
Let's throw Georgia in there.
Got to throw a couple SEC schools.
Where was Georgia? Was Herschel Walker a Heisman?
Yeah. Frank Sinwich.
Yeah, I knew that.
Legendary season. And
all right,
Herschel Walker,
stay down. Ricky Williams. Let's throw Miami in there. Let's do that. Let's go Miami.
There we go.
I knew
Clemson,
he went to Miami.
Oh, finish out Michigan.
Do Oklahoma State because I'm seeing some Barry Sanders action.
Let's get
Boston College. Doug
Ohio State in there. There's got to be an Ohio State.
Yeah. Syracuse wasn't Jim Brown.
Troy Smith was Ohio State, by the way.
Doug Flutie, Boston College.
Wait, what? Bruce Smith, where did he go to? I thought you went to like Miami or something like that. Throw
Iowa.
Let's do
Got something.
let's do the service academies. Let's see what service academy winners we got.
Army's got a few.
Oh yeah,
Go Navy,
Navy.
Air Force. Why not? No, that was no.
Nah, you're pushing the limit. Try SMU. I know SMU went a little crazy back in the day. There we go.
1948.
I knew Doak Walker. Wait, stay there. Stay down. I'm trying to find Davy O'Brien. That's a name right there. Where isn't Davy O'Brien?
Are there any big schools we're missing?
There's got to be a
Right,
Rutgers.
Illinois.
There might be a Rutgers. Old Head School. No.
Old high school. Notre Dame. Did we try that yet?
That's a good one.
Wow. That
Oh.
Is there an Ole Miss?
Nah, I don't think Ole Miss ever had one.
Nah. There's not Mississippi State, right?
No.
Go for it, man.
No, I don't think there is.
Throw in like
We need a good percentage.
I mean, we're
What was like a really good old school? Like Michigan
UPenn.
State have any?
yeah, do Michigan
Oh,
and Penn State too.
Penn State got something.
I'm trying to Andre Ware. Dude, where did Andre Ware go? That's like not too long ago. George Rod. I feel like the new ones should be definitely gettable. Let's try the Pac-12.
We got all the new ones.
Who's in the Pac-12? No Colorado, right?
No way.
They
won
won a natty back.
Wow.
Yeah.
They won Natty. Yeah.
Salon.
Natty.
Andre Ware, I feel like should be pretty gettable, but are we
What else
not?
in the Pac-12?
Clear-
Does Utah have any? No.
No.
Do Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech was filthy back in the day.
It's
Might
not how
get
you
one.
spell Georgia. No.
Tulane.
Yeah, do Tulane. They were also filthy back in the day.
Oh.
I'm thinking
Princeton. There we go.
Ooh.
Dick Kazmaier. What you guys know
We
about
got
that?
Ivy League schools out now.
we need.
Let's go Yale,
We need to finish the
Harvard, Dartmouth. No, that was egregious, Drew.
Why don't we throw in? We did.
How do we not know the first one? I feel like the first one should be pretty obvious.
What's the first one?
Like I don't know. I feel like the first one should be like just a known one.
We should go through the big Northwestern.
No.
It would. I feel like
Yeah,
it'd be the Ivy League.
Do Brown.
That was a good poll, but
Do Columbia.
keep going, Shula.
Do Drexel. They're not.
Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State. That's
Huh.
that's a pull right
Iowa State. No.
there.
Minnesota.
BYU.
There we go.
Minnesota.
Bruce Smith was Minnesota. I did not expect that.
Ty
There.
Detmer. All right, we've got like a handful left.
We need the Pac-12 and
Jim
big
Plunkett.
Texas Tech.
Where's
Tech.
Jim Plunkett?
Throw Texas Tech in.
No, we would have gotten it with A&M and all that.
Throw Houston in. Throw
Rice.
Rice.
Houston, I think, got something.
Houston was something. That's for sure.
Andre
Utah.
Ware.
Boys, throw some names out.
I'm trying to think of like
Yeah,
Pac-
I'm trying to think.
Northwest.
Was
You-
Old Dominion like that?
UCLA, USC, Washington. Who was the fourth that was
Cal.
to try Cal?
No.
Try Stanford. Try.
I like
Stanford, yeah.
I think I got something.
All right. Oh,
That's
keep
right.
going. We have a minute, boys.
Yale.
I'm trying to
Purdue.
Clemson. Do we say Clemson yet? I don't even think we.
No, there's none for Clemson, but I'll try it again.
Wake
What is
Forest.
going on?
Yeah, try week
What,
4.
ACC?
Oh.
Virginia, Carolina.
Virginia, North Carolina, Duke. Do Virginia Tech too.
Dude,
NC State.
was there any weird SEC schools that like aren't SEC anymore? Like I know that there was one.
Look up
Army.
Chicago. Try Chicago. Trust.
Yeah,
University-
University of Chicago.
Wow.
Here we go. Come
All
on.
right, we've got a few left. 30 seconds. Just start rifling off random teams.
NC State.
What SEC?
Indiana. We say Indiana.
No, we didn't.
Ohio, Indiana, Iowa, UConn.
Old schools. I'm just thinking old schools. The Union.
I thought this was
like-
going to be easy too.
We got most of them, to be fair.
Tony Dorsett, dude. How do we not know Tony Dorsett? That's like
I'm gonna say Duke.
Oklahoma, Wyoming,
No.
Wyoming Bowl.
Fresno State, San Diego State.
Pitt.
No,
Oregon
we're done.
State.
We're done.
I was looking at the Pac-12.
95%,
bro.
guys.
I was looking at the Pac-12. I was saying-
Pittsburgh, bro. We forgot Pitt.
What was the old ones?
TCU, South, bro.
Oh,
Bro,
wow.
NC schools too, bro.
TCU in 38.
Those
What is
forgettable.
that, bro? Come on.
Whatever.
Well, we missed 4. All right, another bad loss.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, boys.
Damn,
I respect the effort. I do.
All
Let's
right.
get this bad boy off the screen. All right, back to regular scheduled programming. Let's talk. It's entering the heat of the conference play for every conference. We'll do the Power Four. We'll start with that. We're going to talk conference championship winners. Let's talk SEC ball. And Toby, let's start with you. Let's talk about your prediction for who is going to win the SEC.
Well, I mean, I haven't watched as much college ball as you guys have this season, but I find it hard to not really pick Georgia at this point. They just look like, even after that loss, that they have come back even better. I know a lot of people like to hate on Carson Beck, me included, but I'm going to have to stick with Kirby and Georgia here.
Adam, let's move on to you. What are we thinking about the SEC?
Yeah, I'm going with Georgia too. I mean, they got Ole Miss this weekend on the road at Ole Miss. I mean, they're coming off an offensive onslaught last week, and they put up 63 against Arkansas on the road, and then they got Tennessee next week. So as long as they can get past these next 2 weeks, I think they're good. And I think it's a rematch with, I want to say, Bama in the SEC title. So
Tennessee's no joke. Are they playing on the road at Tennessee, or what the vibes looking like for that?
they're at home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tennessee, that defense has been looking tough. Cannot lie. James Pierce, tough player. Burke, are you with the consensus of Georgia and someone else, or
I'm definitely going with Georgia. I'm a Georgia fan personally, so I'm definitely rocking with Georgia. And I think if like Carson Beck can just like pick it up a little, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be good, and I see them making it out of the SEC.
fair enough? Nick, what are the vibes looking like from you?
Yeah, definitely sticking with Georgia. I think their toughest battle was going to be Texas, and I don't think Texas, that team that everyone thought they were before they lost to Georgia. I think Georgia is going to take down Alabama in the conference championship for a rematch. I think that'll be a great game. But I don't see anyone running through Georgia, even though they had a tough game versus Florida. Still an amazing defense. Kirby's still the best coach in college football. That's a tough team to beat.
Is there a scenario where Texas sneaks into the championship game, or did they'd have to beat Bama? No, let's see.
I think someone has to lose.
Bama just lost though. That's the thing. They lost twice. So wouldn't Texas get in if they just went out, or am I wrong?
You're right. They got rid of the divisions.
I believe I'm correct there. So give me Texas, Georgia, and I will say this: big Georgia guy, big Kirby Smart guy. Can't say I love the culture there. That's for sure. Far from loving the culture, but they win, and their defense is absolutely filthy. But I really do like Steve Sarkisian, and I think he's a great offensive mind, and it is hard to stump him twice. Bold take: Texas wins the SEC. That's my bold take. Neutral site. Kind of like Texas beating Georgia on that one. Big Texas guy. Went to Darrell K. Royal for their spring game. Fun place. Georgia got the best of them that game, but kind of like Texas coming back. Let's move on, though. All right, let's move on to the Big Ten, which currently, if I'm not mistaken, has 3 undefeated teams, so one will be left out. 3 undefeated teams: Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. Out of those 3, which one gets left out? I saw a video, and actually what they said was there's a possibility that Oregon is the number 1 team in the country, but does not get in to the Big Ten championship. That would be absolutely awesome That requires Indiana and Ohio State to win out. I'm going to look up the schedule for the Indiana.
I don't think that's possible because Indiana plays Ohio State next week.
I lied completely. Then, yeah, it was with if Penn State won. If Penn State won, then essentially Oregon could get left out. That's not possible anymore. Okay, well then we'll move to that one. So, assuming Indiana beats Michigan, I'm not sure the betting odds on that, but they are the presumed favorite in that one. Assuming they beat Michigan, Ohio State hosts Indiana, which kind of sounds crazy that like Indiana would even be in that game before the season. Shows how good Kurt Signetti's been. Toby, does Indiana have a realistic chance at Ohio State?
I don't really think so. I mean, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, because you obviously know more than I do, but I feel like this Indiana team hasn't really been tested with a team at all of the level like Ohio State, especially going into the shoe late in the season. That's a whole different beast. I mean, I've been there a couple times, and it is not for the faint of heart if you are an Indiana fan. So we'll see. I mean, if this is a new team and the coach has obviously done such a good job this season that I feel like they have a slight chance, but I think this is just a whole different type of game for them. I think Ohio State's going to take it.
Adam, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I think the Cinderella story comes to an end in the horseshoe next weekend. I mean, I think it was just like the perfect storm with Signetti. That schedule lined up perfectly for him this season. I mean, if a lot of schools in the Big Ten got dealt the schedule that Indiana had, I mean, a lot of schools would have done the same thing, or if not, had better seasons. So I just think, I don't know, everything was put perfectly into place for him, but that train comes to a halt next weekend in Columbus. So
Burke, Nick, what are we thinking?
No, I'm going to Ohio State too. I don't think you go into Ohio State and win that game. I really don't. As much as how good Indiana's been this year, they're just a whole different team. I don't think they should have lost that game to Oregon either. They look good, and I don't know. They're scary this year.
Nick, how are we thinking?
I'm really big on Ohio State this year, but I'm not going to write Indiana off just yet. Easy schedule, but it comes down for me. If you beat those teams, but you beat them by your spread, if you cover your spread and beat the team, which Indiana has done almost every game, they're destroying everyone they're playing. Ohio State went and played Nebraska. That game came down in the middle of the fourth quarter. Nebraska played Indiana. That was a blowout 50-point game. I think Indiana is a much better team than people think they are just because their schedule shows it. Again, it's Ohio State. I have them going to the championship game. I don't think Indiana will get it done, but I will root for them.
I don't disagree with you guys. Unfortunately, I think it's like Indiana, Ohio is like they're in the Big Ten together, but are they really the same operationally level programs? Not really. Major respect for Kurt Signetti, though. All I'll say is if he beats Ryan Day, he should just take Ryan Day's job. Like the athletic director at Ohio State should just be like, all right, let's shake hands in the middle of the field. You are now the Ohio State football coach. Because, like, what? Like, how? That's absurd. Indiana beating Ohio State on the road to clinch the Big Ten championship game. Absurd. And I'm just looking at Oregon's football schedule right now. Maryland at Wisconsin. Sorry, Adam. And then hosting Washington. I mean, like, Wisconsin's the best team of those three remaining. And, playing at Wisconsin's not easy. I could see them giving them a scare. But it is the number one football team in the country. I'm thinking Oregon gets there and they play Ohio State in a rematch. That would be awesome. But shout out the Hoosiers, though. So, boys, all right. SEC, Big Ten. Let's move on to the ACC, where the local team to us, only about an hour south of where we are streaming right now, the Miami Hurricanes. They covered the spread against Duke. They gave up a lot of points. Not going to lie, that offense is elite. Cam Ward, in my opinion, is elite. Those receivers are elite. That running game's elite. That offensive line's elite. The defense, I don't think they're elite. I think they got some good players, great pass rushers, obviously great athletes. Their defense has kind of been giving up points, and as the chat is saying, SMU clears. So the other teams beside them, what's it called? So, if I'm not mistaken, Cal is out of the picture now. Let's see. So, Miami's at the top. Then
An ACC.
Then SMU is second. They are 5-0 in conference. Clemson's 5-1, taking their first conference loss. Big one. They lost a big one to Louisville, who's 4-2 in conference. Pitt would be fourth at 3-1 in conference. No one else really has a chance. Toby, we'll start with you. We know, don't give us that. You guys know more than us BS. We know you've been watching the Miami Hurricanes this year. Maybe you haven't been watching too much SMU, but they were an AAC opponent. So tell me, what are we thinking about the ACC?
Well, I think that how this schedule is at least going to end for Miami is they'll take 2 dubs from Georgia Tech and Wake Forest. And I think they're going to struggle in the Dome on November 30th against Cuse, and I think Cuse is going to come away with an upset there. That's just a pretty biased prediction from me. I think that that's the last game of the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be down to that game. Cuse is going to be playing for something. Hopefully they're going to want a better bowl appearance. So hopefully Fran Brown can get them hyped up and get them ready for that game. But SMU, they've got Boston College, Virginia. Those games won't be very easy. Then they've got Cal, who can, we've seen Miami give them a tough time too. And that's, for SMU, a home game. I think SMU is going to end up taking it. And I think it's really just going to be because SU beats UM in that final game. But that would be pretty crazy. I know it's probably a shot in the dark prediction.
It's possible, man. It's college football. But Adam, what are your thoughts on the ACC, specifically the top?
So if you would have asked me this question last week, I would have said that Clemson would win the ACC and beat Miami in the conference championship game. I know a lot of people wrote Clemson off early in the season after their week 1 loss to Georgia. I didn't. I bought back into them. And then, they lost at home to Louisville this past weekend. So they're out of the picture now. I think the conference championship game will end up being SMU and Miami because I think SMU does win out, although I think Miami beats SMU in the ACC finals. So
fair enough. And Adam, you were always riding the SMU train. Rhett Lashley, good coach.
I like SMU. I think they got a little spark to them.
They're fun, man.
Yeah.
Their quarterback got injured, Preston Stone. Kevin Jennings, as Robbie said, as Robbie commented, he's been pretty good for SMU.
Their offense is always fun to watch.
It's awesome. Rhett Lashley, I said it, possible Florida Gator head coach. Might be bold. It's possible. But Braden, what are your thoughts on the ACC?
I like SMU. I like them a lot. But I think just like if Miami's defense can come and play, I think their offense is always going to be there, and their offense looks gross, and I think they'll probably end up taking it.
Nick, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of SMU, but I've watched a lot of Miami, and I write them off every single week, and they always prove me wrong. So honestly, I'm going to stop fading them. I think I'm going to buy into a little bit of the hype. Their defense just isn't there, but I don't think that's going to be an issue for the ACC as much as it's going to be an issue for the college football playoffs. I do think Cam Ward and that offense will just continue to pull them out of those defensive struggles, and they score at will. If they need to go get a touchdown, they're going to get it. If they need to do whatever offensively, they're going to do it. So instead of me just continuing to fade this team and be wrong, I'm going to ride the hype train, not rooting for them. I want SMU to win it all because I don't like Miami, but I can't keep fading them anymore. The offense is too good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miami is officially toast as Nick Nicosia has become not a fan. He's become a believer of Miami. But, this Miami offense, as I said, unbelievable. They got 4 receivers that can almost start anywhere. They got a quarterback that might win the Heisman. They got 2 running backs that could start anywhere. They have a 9th-year tight end. But that'll wrap it up with the ACC. I'm well aware of how good Miami is. Adam, you said the rankings were coming out, official rankings for college football were coming out tonight. Am I not mistaken?
No, yeah, you're right. It's the first CFP rankings by ESPN or whatever.
What time is that coming out?
Here. Let me look that up real quick.
I'm pretty sure Penn State there was a few one-loss teams ahead of Miami. I'm not sure I agree with that. So,
give me a sec.
You're good. In the meantime, let me pull up BYU.
7 Eastern on ESPN.
Okay, 7 Eastern. That will be
an hour and a half.
An hour and a half from now. Let's move on to the Big 12, which is probably the most. What's going to happen here? BYU is very good, but they're not like. I don't think they're like the top of the SEC. They're not the top of the Big Ten. Like they wouldn't be a top team in those conferences. I think the Big 12 probably has the worst um, top half of their conference, which is saying a lot because I was kind of crapping on the ACC all year. What are you guys thinking? It's kind of a 4-team race between BYU, Iowa State, Colorado, Kansas State, with Texas Tech looking in, maybe Arizona State looking in. For me, really like Iowa State. I really like Matt Campbell, their coach. That dude wins at a place that isn't like some powerhouse that's known for their football prowess. I like BYU too. I think they've always been well coached. I think their offense is humming. They proved me wrong when I said UCF would beat them. Kansas State's kind of a sleeper, and Colorado, as everyone knows, they've been kind of hot this year. They are 6-2. Deion Sanders has done a great job with their program this year. What do you guys think for the Big 12 before we get into our plays of the week?
I like BYU in the Big 12. I mean, just looking at the schedule for them to end it, I think they have it pretty easy. Utah, Kansas, Arizona State, and Houston. So, I mean, I'm going to rock with BYU at least, and they're the undefeated team. So we'll see if it stays that way.
Off, let's do it.
Yeah, I like BYU to win the conference, although the team that they play in the conference championship is going to be interesting, that 3-team race between Iowa State, Colorado, and Kansas State. I'm interested to see which one of those 3 plays BYU in that conference championship game. I think Kansas State has the most favorable schedule going forward the rest of the season, so it's whoever wins out is going to be it. They do play Iowa State the last game of the year. I haven't bought back into that Colorado hype train. I think they lose a game, one game the rest of the season. So I think whoever BYU plays comes on that last game of the year between Iowa State and Kansas State.
There we go. All right, fair enough. Burke, what are we thinking?
I like BYU coming out of the division, but I like Colorado. I kind of buy into the hype. I mean, they look pretty good, and I don't know, they might be a sleeper to win it.
Nick, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm going to take Colorado to win the Big 12. I think the rankings kind of push the teams apart, and they shouldn't be. I think they're all on the same tier. I don't think BYU is above. I think BYU's gotten good wins, and I think they'll be in the championship. But I'm going to take Colorado. They're the hottest team right now, and I think Shedeur is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I think he's a top 3 quarterback. So I'm going to go with that, just straight quarterback play. And also, this team has played really good football. And we don't know what happens at the end of that Kansas State game. If that penalty gets called, maybe we're talking a little differently. But I really like how this Colorado team is playing. I think Deion Sanders has done a really good job there.
Imagine Colorado in the first ever 12-team playoff. Wow. That would be fireworks. Imagine Colorado, and then they can't play a Boise State. I was going to say, I'm very excited for the first 5-12 game. The first 5 seed versus 12 seed. I want to see Colorado beat the crap out of Boise State beat the crap out of Penn State. That'd be so good for Group of 5 football. But as for the Big 12, I think BYU gets there. I think they lose to Iowa State, who I really like this year because coach, quarterback, defense. Doesn't get much better than that. But one play of the week. Let's do it, boys, before we go to commercial break. I'll start us off. Give me Minnesota -6 at Rutgers. Minnesota is on fire. Minnesota, fun fact, their former quarterback, Kaliakmanis, if I said that correct, is currently the starter at Rutgers. Their former offensive coordinator is currently the offensive coordinator at Rutgers. But guess what? Minnesota, they got even better. Well, Rutgers, they got even worse. Give me Minnesota -6. I get there on the road. Adam's not a big PJ Fleck guy, but he wins. He does win. Come on. He wins. Give me Minnesota -6. Toby, what we thinking?
I'm thinking, and I was going multiple different directions for this, before the show. I had a couple of things in mind. I think I'm going to go with Oregon -25. I know that's a lot of points, but Maryland is not good, and Oregon is very good. So I'm going to stick with that at this point in the season. A 9-0 team against a 4-4 team. Give me Oregon -25.
And that says a lot because that is if Miss Melissa is watching, Toby's mom.
Oh, she would not be happy at all.
She's an alum of Maryland. So
She's a realistic alum, though. Let's be
Realistic.
real here.
all right. What's the third leg of the parlay I'm placing right now, Adam, gonna be?
Colorado minus 3.5 at Texas Tech. Nick, I hope that wasn't your play, but all right.
Colorado spread. All right, Burke. What we got?
Give me Bama money line going into LSU. I think they win that game. They look good.
No offense, I think that's gonna be the seller here.
We might need to watch back the shows in the pasture. That might be the first money line pick we've had and not a spread pick the
I
entire
feel like
5 years.
everyone takes the spread, but yeah, no. As long as the money line is within like what minus 200, I think that's fair. Because it's
Yeah,
fun.
for sure.
All right, Nick, finish the parlay off.
Bama money line was actually my pick. I was gonna go with the money line, but
First ever steal.
All right, buddy.
now that-
All right, buddy.
it's kind of tough because I want to take Florida money or not Florida money line, Florida spread at minus 20 or plus 21.5, but I don't know what DJ Lagway's like condition is. They said he's still
He
up there,
covered last week. To be fair,
but he got hurt. So
True.
it's kind of just if he plays or not. I think I'm gonna go Army minus 5.5. Bryson Daly, he was sick, right? He's not hurt. Last week he was sick.
yeah. Bryson Daly. They actually lost the spread for the first time, but it was only by a few points. They still won by 17 against
But
Arizona.
he didn't play though.
They should still cover 5.5.
He did
bro.
not play though, and I feel like he'd be back, but I'm not an Army football.
It was his-
They should cover that regardless, bro.
It was a sickness, so I'm assuming he's playing. I'm going to go with Army just because I think DJ Lagway has less of a chance of playing.
All right, you guys heard it here first. 5 legs. Minnesota minus 6. Oregon minus 26. Colorado minus 3.5. Bama to win. Army minus 5.5. That is plus 2,100 and
Value.
plus 2,164.
Value haul.
Throw $10 on that.
Value.
Throw $10 on that and win $226. Right there, that's like a flight from New Jersey to Fort Lauderdale during the holiday season, which we know a lot of our
Don't do that.
listeners. Yeah, don't do that. No, that is not good value. But do that. But we'll be right back to break. We're going on break right now. We'll be back from break in just about a few minutes. We'll talk NFL, which a lot has been happening. We'll be right back, guys. What is up, everybody? Back for the last 25 minutes to an NFL segment, the trade deadline. Closely approaching. It didn't finish yet, right? Sure hope not.
I think it passed. Yeah, 4 p.m., right?
Yeah, it's over. Okay, the trade deadline is over, but there were a few moves that the certain teams made. What we're going to do is, if you got something to say about it, raise your hand. I will get right to you. We'll start off with what I think was the most influential move. First influential move, Marshawn Lattimore, longtime New Orleans Saint, drafted in 2017 by the Saints, first round. He is no longer in New Orleans, Louisiana. He will go from partying on Bourbon Street to partying in Washington, D.C. with the Washington Commanders, the 7-2 Washington Commanders, the Jaden Daniels-led Washington Commanders. I think it's a big move. I know Toby is a big Emmanuel Forbes enjoyer. Let's just say Marshawn Lattimore is going to upgrade that defense. As you guys know, Mr. Oh my gosh, how did I just forget his name? Commanders head coach. His name is Dan Quinn. I was going to say Dan Schneider. I don't know why. But Dan Quinn, Carolina, oh my gosh. Commanders head coach Dan Quinn is a defensive mind. And I think he realized that offense is explosive. Cliff Kingsbury does a great job with them. And I think that Mr. Lattimore will be a great starter for them. Anyone got anything regarding the Commanders? If not, we'll move on. Looks like we are all in agreement. We'll move to a certain team. Got two players. Pittsburgh Steelers. Nick, you better chip in for this one because Mike, Jump Ball Williams, Mike will order a Taylor ham, egg, and cheese on Uber Eats Williams as soon as he got to the Jets facility. He's on the move. He's going to the Steelers, as well as edge rusher Preston Smith, a longtime Packer, is going to the Steelers. So the Steelers are getting another weapon for Russ, and they are getting another pass rusher alongside already two really good ones, TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Adam, what's up?
I was going to say Nick Herbig.
True. No, three talented pass rushers because Nick Herbig was someone I really liked out of Wisconsin in the draft 2 years ago. All right, Nick, we'll go to you. Feel free to speak about both, but specifically the Mike Williams trade. Talk about his time as a Jet. What do you think he will bring to the Steelers? And was it a good move or a bad move?
I mean, it doesn't hurt. You can't really get him on the field right now. Malachi Corley, he really didn't have a terrible game besides that ridiculous drop touchdown before. He looks all right. He could fill that fourth slot. Alvin Lazard has been playing good. Obviously, Devontae and Garrett. I think getting rid of Mike was the best move for them. He's 30 years old, just coming off an ACL tear. He doesn't look near as explosive as he would have been. I think 5th round is solid value for him. We weren't going to use him the way we were supposed to. Better we got rid of him. How he does on the Steelers, though, I don't really know. Russ does the deep ball, does that vintage Mike Will come out where he runs, catches those jump balls, gets out. I don't really know if he still has that step, but it doesn't hurt. It's a simple trade. Helps the Jets, helps the Steelers. Kind of tiny.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Anyone else got anything regarding the Steelers?
I think it's two huge moves for them, and I think adding Mike Williams to the offense will just open everything up for George Pickens. I feel like there need to be another receiver there, and I think it's going to open a lot up for him, and he's going to ball.
That's true.
They say the uniforms look weird.
Oh, yes. It's a little too late to pull that up, right, Toby?
I don't got it. I don't know if that would take me a good bit to pull up, but yeah.
Fun fact, in 2012, Mike Williams did tweet out, Pittsburgh Steelers uniforms look weird. Now he's Steelers, so you'll be wearing the weird uniform, Mr. Mike Williams. Let's move on. Let's stay in division. This didn't happen today, but Deontay Johnson to the Ravens. I really like that move. One of my favorites.
Did they need another receiver, though?
Well, let's just say Zay Flowers, really good receiver. Shout out Broward County. Big fan of Zay Flowers. Besides that,
Bateman, Aguilar.
Nelson Aguilar is up there.
Mark Andrews.
Deontay Johnson's great. One thing I will say is that old Steelers receivers, they're known for effort issues. I don't know why. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, weird effort issues. And then back in the past, Martavis Bryant, known for that stuff. Really weird. Antonio Brown, nutcase. I don't know. Maybe the Steelers just have a bunch of nutcases at receivers, and they need a new receivers coach. I don't know. Just kidding. But I really do like Deontay Johnson going to the Ravens. I think he's a great separator. Obviously, has had drop issues in his career. Lamar Jackson with another separator, someone always open. That man might win 3 MVPs. Does anyone disagree? Deontay Johnson of the Ravens, love it. Do you hate it? Or are you neutral? What are we thinking?
It just makes sense to me.
Fair enough.
I don't understand how it can't make sense. Their wide receiver 2 is Rashad Bateman. Their wide receiver 3 is Aguilar. They're both horrible. Rashad Bateman's terrible. Dropped that one awful pass versus the Browns that would have won them the game. I think Deontay Johnson just comes up. He's in a tier above both of them. I think it's a great pickup for them. Doesn't hurt them at all. Just makes them a lot better.
Fair enough. Staying with the Ravens, though, they did trade for Tre'Davious White, my opinion. They gave up a 7th, but got a 7th. So essentially it was a pick swap, or they got a 6th, something like that. Either way, they essentially gave up nothing, and that is for a reason, because Tre'Davious White is not the man he used to be in Buffalo. The Rams are willing to get rid of him for pennies. I'm not a huge Tre'Davious White guy. Anyone disagree? No disagreeers. I was kind of expecting someone would. Let's talk. This already happened. DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. Unfortunately, the team that is 8-0 just got a legendary Hall of Fame wide receiver that kind of still got it. Unk still got it for the Chiefs. DeAndre Hopkins. Nick, we'll start with you. What do you think DeAndre Hopkins brings to the Chiefs that they didn't have before? How do you like his role with them?
I was kind of confused that they made that move. When that was happening, I really thought the Chiefs were going to sell out for Cooper Kupp to fill that slot role that they had in Rashee Rice, and then Juju was taking over. I thought Cooper Kupp was going to be the perfect fit for them, regardless of how pricey he would have been. After kind of hearing that it would cost them too much, it wouldn't work out, made sense. I didn't know how DeAndre Hopkins would fit because he's going to stay on the outside. He's not that slot guy that they were looking for to fill that Rashee Rice role. But after last night, I mean, he looked pretty good in a Chiefs uniform. So I think it's a good move for them.
Yeah, I mean, Unk still got it. As I said, DeAndre Hopkins, another weapon for a motley crew of receivers for the Chiefs. That's about all the moves that happened. One little move that happened, Khalil Herbert. He's on the move. He is currently a Cincinnati Bengal, a place that they got Zach Moss, they got Chase Brown. I like Khalil Herbert in that mix. I don't hate it at all. And that's about all the moves that happened.
There was one move I wanted to touch on. It was Zadarius Smith to the
Lions. Yes, sorry, that was
to the Lions.
Yeah.
I think that's big for them to fill that little Aiden Hutchinson spot. This team has no holes. This is one of the best teams I've seen. I think they're better than the Chiefs right now. Watching them play, they absolutely dominate teams. They dominate the good teams, the bad teams. They dominate everybody. And their one hole was losing Hutchinson to be able to make a trade, get someone to kind of fill that role as much as possible. This team's scary.
The Lions GM and owner, give them a raise because what a job hiring Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell brings in his staff. They trade Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff and get picks for it. So right now, Goff kind of looks better than Stafford. Like, as John Gruden said it, he thinks that Jared Goff's probably, when it comes to drop back passing game, progressions, making plays in the pocket, like Jared Goff's probably the best in the NFL at that this season. That's how good Goff's been this season. They've been hitting on their picks. Someone that comes to mind for me is the free safety. I'm forgetting everyone's last name. It's Brian Branch. That's who it is. Brian Branch has been awesome for them at safety. Their coaching staff's great. Amon-Ra St. Brown is great. Their running backs are great. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the better running back duos.
They also have the best offensive line in the league, and Penei Sewell is legit.
Sewell, what a pick that was. I mean, they really haven't missed too much. Sam Laporta has been a great tight end. He was drafted in the second round.
They got a two-headed monster in the backfield in Montgomery and Gibbs.
Montgomery and Gibbs are awesome. That's like thunder and lightning, in my opinion.
Sonic and Knuckles.
Montgomery hits hard. Gibbs can burn anyone on the field. Doesn't get much better than that. Let's do some buy and sell stock teams. I'll start with sell. Everyone's got to do one buy or one sell. Sell. This is kind of an easy one. New Orleans Saints, 7-game losing streak, and they fire Dennis Allen, their head coach. Dennis Allen has been in New Orleans for quite a while. He was the replacement for Sean Payton when Sean Payton retired, but really didn't retire. Kind of came back a year later. So Dennis Allen fired. Derek Carr's been awful and hurt. They're on a 7-game losing streak. Sell them because they just got rid of Marshawn Lattimore, who might be their best defensive player. Some names, they can go right across from their division, the NFC South, and they could pluck maybe Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator Zach Robinson. Falcons offense has been awesome this year. Kirk Cousins has been dealing. Darnell Mooney might make a Pro Bowl. Drake London's been outstanding. Bijan Robinson, awesome. Imagine the Falcons' first-year offensive coordinator Zach Robinson gets plunked and goes to rival Saints. That would be something else. Some other names, I think Dolphins offense coordinator Frank Smith has been a hot name for a while, and Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson has been a hot name for a while. Maybe Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn gets a look. Not sure. There are some hot names out there. There are some, but I'm definitely selling on the Saints. They might not even win a game the rest of the year. They are so bad. And actually, I disagree with that because for some reason, every team wins the game after they fire their head coach. So I actually might be betting on the Saints this week. We'll see. But Toby, why don't you give me a buy or sell team in the NFL this year?
My sell team for this year is probably going to be Green Bay. I know they went on that 4-game winning streak.
You're selling.
What'd you say?
Right now? You're selling right now?
Selling right now just because, I'm looking at their schedule, and they do have some, attainable games, the Saints, the Bears, and, I still think the Dolphins will give them a tough time, but, they play the Vikings. They've got another game against the Lions. Like I said, I think that Finns game will be a little tough for them. I think this is a team that you should probably sell on. We've seen Jordan Love kind of struggle with his health here and there too. So, I personally just don't have a great feeling about this Packers team.
I don't fully disagree, but let's move on to the Wisconsinite Adam Hoff, who just got his home state team sold.
I was actually gonna sell the Packers too after that performance this past Sunday, but I'll transition my sell to the Texans. I was high on the Texans as well.
I was going to say the Texans.
Yeah, so the Texans are my sell team right now. I have 2 teams to buy stock in. My Arizona Cardinals. I think we do win the NFC West. We just bought today at the trade deadline for the first time in years. We got Baron Browning from the Broncos, a pass rusher for a 6th-round pick. I think it's a steal, so that helps us. And then the other buy team that I'm going to take is the Bengals. I think that they're on the right trajectory right now. So.
Fair enough. Bengals bounced back in the win column this past week. All right, Braden Burke, hit me with it.
I'm probably just gonna go. Honestly, don't really have one, but probably just Cowboys. They're done with that getting hurt and everything. Cowboys are done. Yeah, just gotta. I honestly don't mind the Mingo pickup. They have him on a rookie contract. If he does something, it's a good pickup. But 4th is crazy, but should have been 5th or 6th. But yeah, probably the Cowboys.
Yep. And then Nick, finish us off. Do you give us our first buy? Are we all selling?
Look, Berg took mine. Buy low, sell low. The Dallas Cowboys, honestly, probably one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. I don't think Mingo helps them out. They still can't run the ball. They're one of the worst run teams in the NFL. But if I had to buy stock in a team, it's probably going to be the 49ers. Everyone has wrote them off for absolutely no reason. And Christian McCaffrey comes back after the bye. They're going to absolutely blow through the NFC. They're going to give the Lions a run for their money. And right now, they're my Super Bowl pick for the NFC.
Interesting. There are a lot of good teams in the NFC. Nick thinks that with CMC coming back, the 49ers get back to the Super Bowl. Nick, I'm curious. If you were to give your AFC champion right now, who would it be? Can't hear shit.
Best defense this decade, going back from 2020 to now. This is the best defense I've ever seen, and not like Patrick Mahomes isn't on the offense either. So this team is insane. They get Pacheco coming back pretty soon, I think, which I'm very surprised about. I thought he was easily out for the year. That's a good team. There's nobody I think that can compete with them. Maybe the Ravens, but I doubt it.
Fair enough. It's really hard to say that the Chiefs won't get back to the Super Bowl with all the winning they're doing. Mahomes had his worst year since his rookie year when he really didn't play, and they are still undefeated. That's how good they are. One team I'll give a bye. Give me the Los Angeles Rams. I think they are on a 2-game winning streak. Sean McVay is an awesome coach that's won a Super Bowl before. Matthew Stafford has won a Super Bowl. They have 2 really good receivers. Their defense coordinator, Chris Shula, has done a pretty good job. See what I did there. But no, and realistically, they probably beat my Dolphins this week. I am not confident in the Dolphins whatsoever. I get it. They played 2 close games against 2 really good teams. The Buffalo Bills are really good. Dolphins, Tua played essentially a perfect game in both. He did not turn the ball over one time in both. He got in the end zone multiple times in both. The ball barely hit the ground both times. He probably has, 7 incompletions in 2 games. And they still found a way to lose because the Dolphins defense is squishy. The Dolphin defense is soft, and they make terrible mistakes. I just put out today the most washed football player in the NFL. He's a Dolphin. He's a defender. If you guys could guess who it is, I will. I'm not sure what I'll do.
You're gonna say Jalen Ramsey, and I'm gonna disagree with you.
Oh, it's not.
Is it Xavier Howard?
No, it's a current Dolphin.
Is it
You guys might not even know he's a Dolphin right now. He came from
Poyer?
Do you have his college jersey?
Nick,
Oh,
say that
you got
again.
him.
It's Poyer.
It
Jordan
is
Poyer.
Jordan Poyer.
I think you're only mad that he got that one penalty to lose the game.
No, there are multiple instances. I can go to every single one. Week 2, the Dolphins are about to get off the field. Illegal head-to-head hit against the Bills. Later, the very next game against the Tennessee Titans, Tony Pollard breaks a run. Jordan Poyer completely misses Tony Pollard, and he tears Jalen Phillips' ACL. So not only did he ruin the game for the Dolphins, I mean, the game is kind of already over, but he tears our best pass rusher's ACL. A few weeks later, he plays the Indianapolis Colts, and he drops a game-winning interception that went directly through his hands. A little bit later, he drops the game-clinching pick 6 against the Cardinals. Adam, I don't know if you remember that. A ball went right through his hands in the 4th quarter. And just last week, if he just freaking runs out of the way of Keon Coleman, who already dropped the ball was not being completed. Head-to-head hit. Bills
I know you dislike the call when it happened, but if you're looking back at it, that was 100% like head-to-head. Like he came in
real. His intention wasn't to drill him in the head, but it happened. And if he just ran out of the way, it's not a catch. There was perfect defense being played. Cam Smith, Dolphins' 2nd-round corner from last year, played great defense. And unfortunately, the Bills got a free 15 from that and won on a 61-yard field goal. Worst player in the NFL is currently Jordan Poyer. Check out my article on BleacherBrothers.com. We got a little more to talk about, though. Cowboys, we already talked about. What is the worst division in the NFL? Time to pull them up. Worst division in the NFL. I believe I know mine. Want to make sure that I do not forget someone. But off the top of my head, I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the NFC South because I don't actually think that the Atlanta Falcons are a true 6-3 team. I think they're kind of good, but I think a team like Miami, I think a team like Arizona beats them. I just don't think they're actually 6-3. And then no other team has more than 4 wins in that division. The Bucks are 4-5, and then the bottom tier Panthers and Saints round that off. Toby, do you agree, disagree, have a different answer?
No, I actually agree with you. That was going to be the team that I said. Or not the team, the division I said.
There we go. All right, Adam, what are we thinking?
I think the AFC South is absolutely brutal with the Colts, Titans, and Jaguars at the bottom. I mean, the Texans are good or whatever, but that division is just terrible. Another sleeper garbage division is the AFC East. I don't know. That division's just a mess right now.
It's a mess. I think that's the correct word. Terrible. I mean, the Bills are there. But they almost lost to a 2-6 Dolphins team, so can't really disagree there. The AFC South is really crappy. I actually might switch my answer to that if I'd think about the AFC South more because, that division stinks. Burke, fill me in.
I'm probably going to have to agree with you, NFC South. I just think I don't know. Atlanta's not really. They don't shock me or anything. They're just not good. The division's dead. Carolina and the Saints both suck. So it's got to be them.
Nick, finish it off. What team?
NFC South, I think, is bad. Don't get me wrong, but I do think the Falcons are a true 6-3 team. I think if you were talking MVP conversations, you could throw Kirk's name in there, and it wouldn't be the craziest take in the world. Also, Falcons have a good defense, good pass game. Bijan's awesome. I'm gonna go with the AFC South just because if you're talking not a true 6-3 team, I don't know how the Texans have gotten to 6 wins. The Colts have 4-5. They're also a bad team who doesn't have a real QB. And I think the Jaguars and the Titans are both terrible. But the bottom two in the NFC South, definitely way worse. The Saints and Panthers are two terrible teams.
Yeah, I will say this. The Falcons, besides the Chiefs, have really only played one good team, maybe the Eagles. My thing is, I'm going to stick with the NFC South because when I think of a good division, there should be a contender in there. Do you guys realistically think the Falcons win the first round of the playoffs when they get there? I trust the Texans more if they were to get it together because I like D'Amico Ryans and I like C.J. Stroud and their healthy receiver core. When their receiving core is healthy, it's really good. I'll stick with the NFC South. But let's finish it off because, Adam, you brought it up. There are 9 two-win teams. There are 2-win teams in the NFL. There are 9 of those. Excuse my English on that. That was bad. But, yeah, it kind of feels weird. There's a lot of teams at the bottom, and a lot of them can get the number 1 overall pick. It's like, for me, I feel like the number 1 overall pick is kind of not set in stone, but there's maybe a 3-team race by this point in the season by the trade deadline. I don't know. I mean, it's like there's a lot of really crappy teams. Let's start with this because it does feel like really bottom heavy this year, and then the top teams like the Chiefs and Niners kind of feel, and Chiefs and Lions kind of feel like they're kind of carrying the top. Toby, we'll go to you. Who do you think's going to end up with a number 1 overall pick at the end of this year?
Who are like the 3 that we're down to right now? Because I haven't been keeping track with that at all.
So 9 2-win teams: Patriots, Saints, Panthers, Titans, Raiders, Jaguars, Browns, Giants, and Dolphins.
I low-key feel like the Panthers.
It's very possible.
I don't know. I feel like it's the Panthers.
Panthers are indeed bad. I'll say that.
Yeah, they're trash.
It would not shock me if they were Travis Hunter shopping by the end of the year. Adam, what is your answer?
I don't really have an answer to that because I think it's up for grabs. So it's just like shooting a shot in the dark. But I think it would be cool if there was like a 2-win team Super Bowl, like just to see who the best 2-win team is. Just going and robbing with them. So
fair enough. Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. What would that be called? The Toilet Bowl? Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have an answer or?
I honestly don't have an answer. I think honestly the Panthers are atrocious. Pats are looking to win. Like we want to win. It's just like we suck. Our team's terrible. And then the Saints, I don't know. I feel like they just squeak out a few more wins. Like they have players that want to win. So I think the Panthers just end up losing, getting the number 1 pick.
Nick, thoughts?
Panthers are clearly selling their team. They want that number 1 pick. Mingo gone, Deontay Johnson gone. Like there's 2-win teams. Then there's the Panthers that shouldn't have a single win. They are one of the worst teams I've ever seen. There's not a chance. There's not a doubt in my mind that this Panthers team doesn't have the number 1 overall pick.
I think I'll go with the Panthers and parlay that with Patriots finishing the bottom 3. I'm sorry, Burke. It just seems right that like someone like a Travis Hunter is a Patriot by the end of the year. But
are your Dolphins the best 2-win team?
I was just going to say that. And on this note, the Dolphins are the best 2-win team. Yeah. The fact that they didn't beat the Bills was criminal. The fact that they didn't beat the Cardinals was also wild. It was a game they were winning by 10 points. And then their quarterback was out for 3 of the losses. So, or 2, my apologies. I think it's 3 though. But yeah, I think the Dolphins are kind of clearly the best 2-win team. It wouldn't surprise me if they finish like 8 and 9, and their defense kind of figures it out and the offense keeps humming. But that's all the time we got, boys. A lot of fun. Excited to bring probably the same group back next week. Maybe we'll have Elderson make it 6. Boys, I had a great time, but it's time to go. Everyone, thank you for viewing the Wild Snap, a football show. Hope you had a great time. Next week, we'll talk more college football, more NFL. But in the meantime, we are out of here. Goodbye, everyone.